Hello everybody, my name is AC and welcome to IPR's Game Room. Today I'm going to be talking about Monarchies of Mao. Now, Monarchies of Mao, which is sort of a sister companion to Pugmire, if you've ever heard of that RPG, they're both set in the same world. The main difference being that Pugmire deals with dogs in the kingdom of Pugmire, and Monarchies of Mao deals with cats in the Monarchies of Mao. The main concept of both games is that humans are gone, and through whatever means, animals now rule the earth. You have cats and dogs that have these complex political structures and go on quests and fight badger bandits and always fight the forces of the unseen, which are sort of like demons. Monarchies of Mao is very Dungeons and Dragons-like. You're in that sort of medieval time period, but there's a few key differences, mainly that you're playing as a cat, like an actual cat with opposable thumbs, which is choice, and that you're playing in a very cat-like culture, which is one of my favorite things about Monarchies of Mao. Like, every part of the culture feels like cats made it. Like, it's so much fun. There's 7 monarchies in the Monarchies of Mao, all named after different cat breeds, except for the Shadow Block. Now, the Shadow Block is a very, thiefy, shadowy monarchy, and they don't actually have a physical territory in the game. They just happen to have enough members that they get a seat at the table. Now, I've never actually read Pugmire. I sort of just went straight for Monarchies of Mao because, well, I'm a cat person. So I can't really compare and contrast the two kingdoms, but I love the culture of the monarchies, like I mentioned before. There's so many little things that just make you go like, oh yeah, this was made by cats, like the lounges. Lounges are sort of like taverns, but they have big windows so that the sunlight can come streaming in, and a bunch of soft pillows and cushions everywhere, and they serve catnip tea. Because of course, in a culture of cats, you would serve catnip tea. It's so much fun, and I'm actually running a game of Monarchies right now for the IPR crew. And I had so much fun making the lounge for the little town that they're in. It's like sort of a, more classy tavern where there's a lot of, smoke drifting around and everybody's very relaxed and you can still go and hear all the gossip, but there's a lot less bar fights. There's a lot of opportunities for political intrigue in the game. The monarchies are held together by the ruling council, which has a representative of each of the monarchies that sits on it, and they make all the decisions for the monarchies. Now, since this is a council of cats, they are all very sly, and they're always looking to get the upper paw, as it were, on their fellow rulers. There's also the accepted Precepts of Mao, which were decided on by the very first ruling council and which all cats must follow. These are: always trust your instincts, always pounce upon minions of the unseen, always reward loyalty, and always respect an honest duel. Now, these are fantastic not only because they're very cat-like and because there's one specifically in there for duels, which I love, but also because they set up the rules of the world really quickly and concisely for your players, so they immediately get an idea of the culture that they're in. Another part of the world that I really like are the sort of religions that the cats follow. There's the idea that humans, known as the old ones in the culture, were the cats' servants, and that they left the cats the bits of technology, which are used as magic in the game, to help them fight against the servants of the unseen. Now, in Pugmire, and it says this in the Monarchies of Mao book, in Pugmire, the dogs view the old ones as their gods, right? Because of course they do, they're dogs. And I love that difference between the dog culture and the cat culture. Because, of course cats are not going to be like, ah yes, the almighty humans who were so kind as to leave us these things. No, they're just like, ah yes, our loyal servants who of course left us these things because they knew that we would need them. Like, it's fantastic. Again, another way that Monarchies of Mao really captures that cat essence, There's another religion called the Temples of Nine. Now, the Temple of Nine follows the idea that cats literally have 9 lives, and your players can go to a Temple of Nine and the priest can tell them what life they're on or help them gain insight into their past lives. It's really fantastic, and this is also where the game's sort of clerics and paladins, the minister class, get their power from. It's fantastic. Another thing that I really like about Monarchies of Mao is that it has a really good balance with how much world building the book gives you. As a GM, I didn't feel overwhelmed by how much I had to create within the world, but it also doesn't have like every single city mapped out already. It just gives you enough that you can feel comfortable in making your own cities, which is what I did. I made a little seaside town for the crew to explore called Seaforth, and there's enough things like every city has a lounge, and every city is probably going to have these few things that you can build up a structure around those while still being creative and having a ton of fun. There's also a whole one-shot campaign that's in the back of the book, which I'm only going to talk about because it's not what I'm running. So, to the crew, if you're watching this, you thought. Absolutely not. You have to solve my puzzle on your own, okay? But yeah, it's a really well done campaign where your players can go and fight the Rat King, which who doesn't want to dethrone a monarch every once in a while, you know? It's really well done, and it totally has a bunch of NPCs that I could rip out and use for my own campaign if I wanted. So it's a great little resource. Character creation is also really well done. It's sort of a condensed down version of D&D again, but not in a way where you're going to feel like you're missing anything. We were able to get it done for 4 players in about a session, which for us is usually about 3 hours. And you get really well done, like full complete characters, partially because my favorite part of the character creation process is that you have these 3 sentences at the very end that your characters have to finish. These sentences are, what is most important to me is blank, no one knows about blank, and no matter what, I just can't blank. Now, by filling out these blanks, just for these 3 little sentences, your players immediately have like little backstories that aren't, huge 20-page long backstories, but they're enough that I, as a GM, was immediately able to create hooks for them in the story, and they have fully realized characters just that fast. It was so incredible. I really loved it. Besides that, the game uses the sort of same D20 system as D&D. For pretty much everything, you're going to be rolling a D20 and adding any relevant modifiers, and a bigger number is pretty much always better. Your weapons usually roll a d6 or a d8, and so on and so forth. It's really familiar to anybody who's ever listened to an actual play or, played D&D, which I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably at least know what it is, right? Now, obviously, I'm super into Monarchies of Mao, and not just because it's been my life for the past 2 weeks as I've been running this campaign, but also because I read Warrior Cats as a kid. I was obsessed with Warrior Cats as a kid. And if you were like me and you read all of the Warrior Cat books, you are going to love Monarchies of Mao. I mean, love it. It's literally the role-playing game of Warrior Cats, except for that they have opposable thumbs and swords. Can you imagine? All of the wars and the strife and the murders and all that stuff, but this time with swords and duels. And of course, they're not always fighting among themselves. There's badgers and the unseen and all those things, but it's so much fun for me. And you better believe I totally stole some NPCs from the Warrior Cats. You've got, Yellowfang and all those fantastic characters that deserved better, and I'm giving them that, okay? It's so much fun, and I'm having a great time with it. So, as always, Monarchies of Mao is available on IPR's website through the link in the description below. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and check out our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Who knows? Maybe I'll put up some of the adventures that the crew's having in Seaforth on the Instagram story if you're interested in seeing how the crew actually plays the games that we sell. As always, also remember to check out our newsletter. It has a bunch of fantastic IPR news on it, and it only comes out once a month. And remember, gamers, talk to you next time.